This week, Siskel and Ebert review fugitive Mel Gibson teaming up with old flame Goldie Hawn in Bird on a Wire. Ladies' man Robin Williams is held hostage by angry husband Tim Robbins in Cadillac Man. And Michael J. Fox goes way back to the past in Back to the Future Part 3. It's all coming up next on Siskel and Ebert.
Both hands behind your head. Both hands.
Mel Gibson is a federal witness on the run, and Goldie Hawn is an old girlfriend who's suddenly on the run with him in Bird on a Wire, one of 5 new movies we'll be reviewing this week on Siskel and Ebert. I'm Roger Ebert of the Chicago Sun-Times.
And I'm Gene Siskel of the Chicago Tribune. Our first film is Bird on a Wire, a would-be romantic action comedy featuring Mel Gibson playing a longtime hideout in the Federal Witness Protection Program, and Goldie Hawn is a New York lawyer who used to be in love with him 15 years ago. She recognizes him at a gas station after all these years and aids his escape from mobsters he fingered at a trial a long time ago.
Let me in, will you?
Frank, is that you?
Yes, me, Rick, let me in, will you?
How do I know it's you?
It's me, Muffy. Open the damn door. Oh, damn. Oh, what the hell are you doing here?
Me? What the hell are you doing here?
Being shot in the butt.
There are a lot of butt jokes in the movie and a lot of feuding and fighting between this couple on the road.
Hey, calm down, will you? What's eating you?
Calm down. I just took a shower with a cockroach from hell. He's in there doing his hair right now. Not to mention the fact that you sold me into human bondage.
Nothing special there. Apparently, Gibson has had many different identities over the years, including working as an effeminate hairdresser. Tired stereotyping here.
I just can't believe it, Maddie. So you say hi to an old friend? Come on, cat got your tongue. Say something, Maddie.
Hi, Scotty.
There is plenty of routine action in the movie. Crop dusting planes in the movies always seem to crash.
Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh, I'm gonna throw up! I don't want to die!
Of course, what we'd rather see is Gibson romancing Hawn. Bird on a Wire is a major disappointment. Gibson is a lot funnier in his Lethal Weapon action comedies. He has more of a relationship with Danny Glover than he ever establishes with Goldie Hawn. And as for Goldie Hawn, well, she's a tough lawyer as the film opens, but then, sadly, she turns into a Private Benjamin-style dingbat once she is in the presence of Mel Gibson, and that is really aggravating. They're not sexy together, not funny together. Not at all.
You know, one of the things that bothered me about this movie was that they obviously wanted to set up almost a Hitchcock-like style of locations. It starts out in this gas station, but then they go on to an enormous number of different places and end up inside a zoo,
right,
where they're being attacked by alligators and piranha fish and tigers and lions and panthers and snakes, and they're on a suspension bridge. And this must have looked great at the screenplay level because they could see all of these locations and all of the stunts that were possible. But the problem is the movie doesn't really deliver on that climactic scene. It's just confusing because we don't have any idea of spatial orientation. We don't know where anybody's coming from. You have one guy hanging from a rope ladder and somebody else coming out from behind a door with a gun, and you don't know where they are in relation to each other. And so what should really be the payoff of the movie is badly handled from a technical
point of view. Well, what
point
about their relationship and their characters? Didn't you see the Goldie Hawn character completely switch at the beginning? She's tough.
Oh, that always happens. That always. Look at Sheena, Queen of the Jungle, where she's been ruling the beast for 25 years, and once a TV anchor man gets off the plane, all she can do is be led around by him by the hand. This always happens in the movies, where once a strong woman gets in the presence of the male lead, she, as you said, she turns into a dingbat. Okay, next movie. And our next movie is Last Exit to Brooklyn, which in almost every way is not only the opposite of, but even the antidote to Bird on a Wire. This is a grungy, violent, dirty, violent, and depressing film about people who mostly even see themselves as the dregs of humanity, and yet it's an exhilarating film all the same because there is human life here. The movie takes place in the early 1950s in Brooklyn, not far from the Brooklyn Navy Yard, where striking workers are faced with scabs who want their jobs. The movie stars Stephen Lang as Harry Black, the manager of the strike office. He is secretly a homosexual, something he tries to hide, and he has spent the night with a lover instead of at his strike job.
Darlin's in charge of investigating what happened at the riot. Where were you in the morning when the trucks came in? Because nobody got to me for almost 2 hours. And by that time, company security was there, and the cops were there, and where the were you?
Harry gets fired by union official Jerry Orbach, who is one of the few fairly happy people in this film. Another subplot involves Burt Young as a striking worker who discovers his daughter is pregnant. Ricky Lake plays the teenager.
Yeah, now you know.
So what?
What does it look like? What, you think she's just fat?
What are you saying here? What are you saying?
What are you, stupid?
But she is fat. She's fat, then she's a virgin.
No more she ain't.
And Jennifer Jason Leigh gives one of the strongest performances in the movie as Tra-La-La, a hooker who has sold herself for so long there is no self left to sell.
So you buying me a drink?
Yeah. What would you like?
The stump is dying. Maybe we ought to go somewhere else to drink.
Last Exit to Brooklyn is based on a book by Hubert Selby Jr. that was the subject of obscenity trials during the 60s in England and America, and the movie is uncompromising in its depiction of the same dark vision. This is a world without hope, a world where sex and love have less of a connection than sex and violence. It's not a happy film, but it does make you think and feel, and it creates a world that's not easy to forget. And I often ask myself, or indeed I'm asked by other people, why do you like movies like this?
Right.
And The Cook, the Thief, the Wife, and the Lover, and
Right.
Taxi Driver, and other movies that are such downers and are about such depressing people.
Yes, and I'll tell you the reason why you like it if you won't answer your own
I
question.
thought maybe you would, yes.
Yeah, the reason why is really not a downer. It is exhilarating. Sure, it's a horrible life that he's depicting there, but he portrays it. Uli Edel, I believe, is the director.
That's right,
from West
yeah.
Germany. And he does it in such a beautiful way that it is thrilling to see. When you have long shots of all the workers, right at the end of the picture, all workers going off to work, it's like this mass movement, and you feel, gee, that is what maybe part of the human condition is. All these people slugging it out at work, all these people tied up in their sexuality and not being satisfied, men feeling more comfortable fighting and drinking with each other than expressing their feelings. It's a whole worldview, and I think this picture is almost at the level of Sergio Leone's Once Upon a Time in America, another epic about what it's just like to live in this country.
It's a very good picture. As you mentioned, it's by a German director who also made Christiane F., that movie we liked 3 or 4 years ago about drug addiction. The whole point is, and this is the point, happy movies don't necessarily make you happy, and sad movies don't necessarily make you sad. Good movies make you happy, and bad movies make you sad. And if this is a good movie, it doesn't matter what the subject matter is because we're exhilarated by the presence of this artistic vision.
And it really is a complete vision, quite unlike anything I've seen. Coming up next, the third chapter in the Back to the Future movie series. Once again, Michael J. Fox and Christopher Lloyd co-star, this time in the Old West.
What's your name, dude?
Eastwood. Clint Eastwood.
What kind of stupid name is that?
Our next film is Back to the Future Part 3, a most satisfying conclusion to the action comedy series about time travel. I really liked the original film. I thought the second was dull as dishwater, but number 3 is just fine as Michael J. Fox and his scientist friend Christopher Lloyd wind up back in the Old West of 1885. And thanks to his expertise with video games, Michael J. Fox proves to be an expert marksman at a Western town carnival.
Listen, can I try that again? Yeah, go on.
Hey, just tell me one thing. Where'd you learn to shoot like that?
7-Eleven.
Part 3 also brings back some of the adult emotions of the original film as Christopher Lloyd falls in love with a school teacher played by the always delightful Mary Steenburgen.
I think a lens may be out of alignment because if you move it this way, the image turns fuzzy. See? But if you turn it the other way, then
everything becomes clear.
They're great together. Naturally, there is a six-gun showdown in the movie as Michael J. Fox angers the local tough guy who doesn't like his nickname.
You're Mad Dog Tannen. Mad Dog. I hate that name. I hate it. You hear? Nobody calls me Mad Dog. Especially not some duded up, egg-sucking gutter trash.
And they do have a shootout in the street in the western town at the not at high noon, at low 8 o'clock. Those scenes each work on their own, but they are made more special because the characters are fiddling with the past and possibly influencing the future. Back to the Future Part 3 looks great. It's obvious that they have spent tens of the millions of dollars they made with this series. Gorgeous western settings. I love a nostalgic shot of Mary Steenburgen, remember, in a beautiful purple dress standing next to that green train, green railroad car. Top flight writing and fine performances all around.
I don't know, Gene, I didn't like it as much as you did, and one of the problems is, as a western movie, this didn't work very well. Now, if you add all of the time travel onto the top of it and your memory of the two previous movies in the series, I suppose that would help. But the problem is, this western town is a movie western town. It's straight out of cliches. There's even Pat Buttram drinking in the bar.
I like seeing
along with
him.
a couple of other guys. Dub Taylor was in the bar, too, I think.
I love seeing those
And
guys.
so wouldn't it have been more interesting if Michael J. Fox had gone back to the real Old West instead of to the movie Old West and gone back to a real time in the past rather than a fictional time in the past?
Well, he's going to a fictional time in the future when in Part 2, and you enjoyed that picture. So, you know, the question is, was it entertaining?
Yeah, but the problem here is, you see, there isn't as much time travel or paradox in this movie. Basically, once they get back there, it becomes a Western.
Right? Yeah, and I like that.
Time. And it wasn't a very... If this were only a Western, you wouldn't say it was a very good Western.
It's not only a Western.
But you wouldn't say it was a good Western if it were only a Western.
But it isn't only.
But it isn't. But the Western part isn't so good.
No, that's where I differ with you. The part that is a Western was very entertaining for me. I just reviewed all the parts of it. The Steenburgen and Christopher Lloyd are a lot of fun together, and he has some fun with Western conventions. The movie worked for me.
Okay, when we come back, Cadillac Man with Robin Williams is a man who thinks he can sell almost anything.
You're a hell of a driver, Mr. Klopstock. Oh, you ready to take this baby home?
I don't know. Cadillac Man, and it stars Robin Williams as a car salesman who makes a lot of money and spends a lot of money because he can't break his addiction to women. Caught in a traffic jam, he tries to deal with one of his problems, a mistress played by Fran Drescher.
I'm not asking you to marry me. I'm just saying I will. Shut up! I will not share you with other women, darling.
Another female problem is ex-wife, played by Pamela Reed. They still like one another, but she can't stand his womanizing.
It wouldn't hurt if you set a little cash aside for Lisa's college, like you keep saying you are.
Tina, I've always taken care of you, but I'm living in 2 rooms as big as your garage, huh? I'm living like a cabbage seller, like my old man.
Oh, yeah, because you spend your money on whores instead of your daughter's education.
At work, Williams is a fast-talking car salesman. Here he is at lunch with a gang from the dealership in a scene stolen by a wonderfully comic performance by Lauren Tom as the waitress.
It's a monkey brain.
Monkey brain, huh? Oh, Helen, that's not the monkey's brain. Look at that. That's a different part of the monkey.
Stop playing with it now. Eat it. Okay.
Enjoy.
The bear's balls. Okay, you shut up now. Eat.
Then a crisis strikes. The husband of one of the employees crashes into the showroom in a jealous rage and holds everyone hostage. He's played by Tim Robbins, and it's up to Robin Williams to do the best salesmanship job of his entire life.
He doesn't want to talk to you. If I did want to talk to him, I wouldn't talk to him out there.
But if he does talk to you, he's not going to talk to you out there. And not going to talk to you in here.
Actually, I'm not going to talk to him at all.
Actually, he doesn't want to talk to you at all.
Tell him to go away.
Go away.
More or less, the entire second half of the movie is given over to the process of Williams talking Robbins out of spraying everyone with machine gun bullets. And although that was the heart of the movie, it interested me the least. The opening parts of Cadillac Man reminded me of Tin Men, that comedy with Richard Dreyfuss and Danny DeVito as aluminum siding salesman, and I was set up for Robin Williams as a no-holds-barred Cadillac salesman when suddenly the movie turned into a comic version of Dog Day Afternoon. And at the same time it turned talky, real talky, it lost a lot of its energy.
Well, you know, I'm going to give the film thumbs down, but oddly enough, the part that you didn't like is the very part that I did. I thought that the setup wasn't very good in terms of the slick salesman and the slick world of car salesmen. The movie, I think, cheats a lot a bit by having him talk to the screen and talk to us, giving us extra narration and extra help to see how devious he is when he's trying to pitch a woman whose hearse is broken down at a funeral for a new car. That isn't shot in a really adult, smart way. It's really handing it to the audience. But then, when the picture got into the mano-a-mano between Tim Robbins and Robin Williams, I thought it worked in some sort of perverse anti-film way, because I expected more action, and it really is just talking.
Well, you know, I agree with you about the opening scene. For example, when he's trying to sell the car to Elaine Stritch, who is the widow whose hearse, the funeral home's hearse, is broken down on the way to the cemetery, and he's going to sell her a car. I thought maybe that's the way the movie would go, and I thought it would be funny if he were trying to sell a car anywhere and everywhere, and I think there would have been some promise in that approach. One thing I noticed in this movie, you know sometimes how a movie will spin off a TV sitcom like Alice Doesn't Live Here Anymore gave us that. Lauren Tom, in that Chinese restaurant, she has two brief scenes, and they're the funniest two scenes in the movie. She's really, come on now.
I thought that was a little hackneyed.
Come on, it was original. Hackneyed, you've never seen that before.
No, I have seen waitresses or waiters pushing food a lot, which is what she does.
But you haven't seen...
I guess the thing is, this picture, I thought in the back half, had the guts to try to be a really hangout, talky kind of picture, and I appreciated the back half of the film.
Okay, coming up next, the personal drama called Longtime Companion, following the story of gay men from day number 1 of the AIDS crisis.
I feel like something is stalking me.
Our next film is called Longtime Companion, and it takes an emotionally frank, but sometimes romantic look at a bunch of homosexual men trying to deal with AIDS. The film begins in 1981 in New York City, when AIDS was just a couple of paragraphs in a newspaper story. After a while, though, each of the couples we meet is touched by the disease.
I'm so sorry. It's just not fair. It's not fair.
The most fascinating couple in the film is a TV soap opera writer played by Mark Lamos and his wealthy lover played by Bruce Davison, who tries to calm his frightened friend.
Did you sleep with John? No, I did not sleep with him. Then there's nothing to worry about. My side of the bed was soaking this morning. Well, so was mine, because it's summer. In the summer, it is hot. Fine. We don't have air conditioning.
Another way AIDS is shown to impact on gays is to make it hard for them to get insurance while working on a movie, for example. A lawyer argues the case for a discriminated against friend only suspected of having AIDS.
What do you mean he's sick, Walter?
I mean he has AIDS. You know what I mean?
How do you know he has a... I've never heard that, and he's my client.
He was fired from the soap.
Now, you see, this is how rumors get started. He was not fired from the soap because I got him out of his contract.
Longtime Companion might seem like one of those disease of the week TV movies, but it's better than that, more frank than that, letting us be surprised as much as the characters themselves are at the widespread devastation they are about to experience. And the movie does have one classic scene where Bruce Davison, the wealthy gray-haired man, tries to ease the pain of his terminally ill friend. He sits at his friend's bedside like a Lamaze breathing coach, but this time not talking about life, talking about death, whispering to his friends to let it go, just let it go, and welcome death. That is one powerful movie moment.
It certainly is. That scene, in fact, all by itself, elevates this movie way beyond the range of your ordinary movie of the week, because there was no attempt there to get around the fact that this man is dying and that the loss is felt and that it's real and that it's permanent and that that's the way Bruce Davison feels. And yet he gives his friend permission to go. It's a mighty, mighty scene. And the movie itself, I thought, was a very good movie simply because it tried to do it tried to make a record of the ordinary lives of these people. And first, AIDS is just a whisper. It's a paragraph in the paper, as you say. And then somebody comes down with something, but they don't even have a name for it yet. And then after a while, somebody dies, but they're not sure that's what it was. And then pretty soon it is an epidemic, and then the entire lifestyle of this community changes. And we see it over a period of time. It's not like a crisis. It's like a human process in which age changes the lives of these people.
It's just one, I mean, there's a lot of scenes at the beach, probably at Fire Island out in New York, and it's just like one big wave is coming in on this community very steadily, and then taking so many of them under. It'll be interesting to see, Bruce Davison is very good, it's interesting to see whether anyone will remember back to a May film when it comes time for Academy Award nominations. He's that good.
Let's hope so. Now let's take another look at the movies we reviewed on this show. We both voted thumbs down on Bird on a Wire, the silly action chase comedy starring Mel Gibson and Goldie Hawn. But two very sincere thumbs up for Last Exit to Brooklyn, the powerful, violent, seamy slice of life. We split on Back to the Future Part 3. Gene enjoyed the Wild West conclusion to the trilogy. I thought the Wild West looked like a movie set. Two thumbs down for Cadillac Man with Robin Williams and Tim Robbins. Finally, two thumbs up for Longtime Companion, a moving account of the first decade of the AIDS crisis with a strong performance by Bruce Davison. And so, Last Exit to Brooklyn and Longtime Companion, good movies rolling out gradually as we speak across the country.
Really, I would say people should take a shot on Last Exit to Brooklyn. I know they're going to be offended by the violence. Some people will be offended by the violence, but I think if you study that picture a little bit, it is one heck of a representation of a mindset about the way some people have to live their lives.
And just in terms of the look of the film, the art design, the cinematography, it's well done.
That's it for this week. Next time we'll be back with a special show called Hidden Horrors, home video recommendations of horror films that Roger and I each like. Normally we bum rap horror films. We found a few that we do like. That's next week, and until then, the balcony is closed.